Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Eljay Johnsen Show. The show airs every single weekend, every Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified otherwise, over on Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Tuesday. And if you have any questions of the week, make sure you send them into my email, eljayjohnsen@gmail.com. Remember, that's Johnnsen. Okay, brilliant. That went about as flawlessly as it could. We're all good. So, I'm quite excited for my next guest. He is an artist in the LEGO community, most known for his brilliant artistries of Ninjago. They are incredible. However, he has plenty of other awesome works of art to share with everyone. He is, of course, Joshua Deck. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am tired. Saturdays are always exhausting.
Yeah.
But,
especially when you have to work and everything.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I haven't even made a public announcement yet, but the time that the show airs is very possibly going to change because I'm going to be working on Saturdays. So something's got to switch. It's either got to be the TTV podcast and its other podcasts, or it has to be this, and I'm not sure which yet.
Yeah, it's hard to choose. I work at Chick-fil-A, so I get Sundays off, so that's always good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm debating.
At least I can get one day.
What was that?
At least I can always get one day.
Yeah, no, exactly. I don't know what's going to happen. It's either going to move up 2 hours or it's going to go over to Sunday, which would be later in the day for Sunday, because if it's in the morning, a lot of people have church. They wouldn't be able to accommodate for it. So
yeah,
it'll be either later Sunday or earlier Saturday. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's a good plan.
Speaking of good plans, let's get to chatting. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I've been up since 9 o'clock preparing for this.
Oh my gosh. Goodness gracious. Yeah, no, I don't know if you need to get up that early.
No, I'm a little nervous, so I couldn't really sleep. So I kind of woke up and I was like, all right, I got to get ready. I don't want to wake up at 3 o'clock, where I am, and miss it.
Nah, that's fair. Nah, I understand. That's fine. Speaking of things in your neck of the woods, how is the weather?
Well, I live in Alabama, so Hurricane Dorian isn't going to hit us. I don't think.
No one's really sure right now.
Yeah.
It's a little up in the air. No pun intended.
I'm hoping it doesn't hit us.
Yeah.
But I do have a friend who just moved to Florida, and then this happens.
Oh no. First of all, they moved to Florida. Second of all, then this. That's like two bad things in a row.
Yeah, he literally just finished moving, and then suddenly he gets this news.
Oh gosh dang. Well, I wish him the best of luck. Well, is the weather at least pleasant? Like, is the temperature nice? Because it's still summer, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, it's a nice like 90 degrees outside.
That what? No, that's not nice.
As a guy, okay, as someone who lives in Florida, I'm used to it. So, not Florida, Alabama. As someone who lives in Alabama, I'm used to it. So, it's a comfortable temperature for me.
No way. Yeah, no, it's 86 Fahrenheit outside right now. That is 30 Celsius. And that's too much. I don't like that. I like it to be a nice, cool, crisp 60 to 70 degrees.
Oh yeah, me too. That's why I can't wait for fall.
Oh, fall. See, that's what I love about September, especially, is because it's still warm during the day, which sucks, but during the night, it cools down significantly, so you can actually go to sleep. So, it's wonderful. I like that.
I love that too. I still keep the fan on, though.
Yeah.
I want it to be as cold as possible in my room.
Exactly, yeah. Like last night, it dropped to like the 50s, and I had the fan on, so when I wake up, it's like the, kind of high 50s, low 60s, and then it kind of gradually warms up. It's like a freezer, and then it gets warmer, but it's not as hot as outside. So I like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I live with my parents right now, and they like to keep the temperature really hot. I don't like that.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to the meat and potatoes of things. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Let everyone know who you are, what you do, and how you got into Lego and the community.
All right, I'm Joshua Deck, or Joshua D17, everywhere except for Twitter. There I'm Joshua D_17. I draw Ninjago art. Actually, I just draw Lego art, but I have an emphasis on Ninjago.
Mhm.
Um, I've been trying to get more like into other themes too. I've actually been planning a few things, which I might talk about later. But yeah, so do you want to talk about the Legoverse now, or do you want to
Uh,
wait till later?
we'll talk about that in just a few moments. But go
Okay.
ahead and kind of go through how you got into Lego generally, and then as you've gradually continued being a fan of it, got into the community as well.
Okay. Well, I've been a Lego fan like pretty much my whole life. Like even as a kid, I remember my aunt gave me like a huge box of Lego, just like it was mostly old space themes. I remember it had some UFO stuff in it. I think some space police, that kind of stuff in it. But I didn't really know what those themes were at the time, so I just kind of built stuff out of it, like random stuff out of the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I probably couldn't reassemble the sets today if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so my first favorite theme was Star Wars. Whenever the original trilogy sets were out, I remember collecting a lot of the Clone Wars sets when the TV show came out and the movie. Um, and then I kind of waned away from that
Mm-hmm.
and started like collecting other themes. I really really like non-licensed themes now. Not really licensed themes that much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I was actually one of the original like the OG fans of Ninjago. Like I collected stuff back in 2011 when it first came out.
Goodness, yeah, no, you've been there since the beginning then.
Yeah, I still have the Garmadon's Dark Fortress
Oh, gosh,
from 2011.
I don't think I even remember that set. Was it like a tower with like a chair at the top?
Yeah, it was a castle with a flaming throne and a big spider on the front of it.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, okay, I have a fuzzy image in my head, but do
Yeah,
continue.
yeah, I got that. Only because I had Samukai and Garmadon in it, and Nia. Those are the only ways to get those three minifigures at the time before the Fire Temple came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I got like the Ice Dragon. I got that one like skull truck that isn't the skull truck. It's like the one with like the battering ram on the front. I forget
Is it
what's
kind of like a
called.
motorcycle?
I had that one, but it's like it had treads on the front and like wheels in the back.
I do not
Um,
remember. Oh, okay, no, again, fuzzy image in my head. It's been a very long time since I saw the old Ninjago sets.
I got that one. It was probably my favorite set, just because it was my first set where like they had like functions to it,
Mm-hmm.
where when you rolled it, the truck like the battering ram would kind of like go up and down,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so like excited that it did that it had like a play feature.
Yeah. Let me try and find a
Uh,
picture of that real fast. Because I am curious. Come on now. Come on. Oh, okay, so it's got treads in front. Is that right?
yes, it does.
Alright, brilliant. In that case, nope. Do I want to click this button? Yes, I do. Gosh, I love this program. Okay, so this. There we go. And voila. So this is set number 2263 Turbo Shredder.
That one, yeah,
There we go. Okay, this is kind of a neat looking set. This is very, I mean, it's obviously very skeletal, but
yeah.
this is
And,
really
and
cool.
whenever you move it, the little skull thing in the front kind of chomps up and down, and, like eats any minifigures that
Oh.
fall under it. But yeah, basically my plan from the beginning was whenever a new Ninjago wave comes out, I always find the cheapest way to get all the ninja,
Mm-hmm.
um, and only buy those sets. I always want to get all of the ninja. Well, I guess at the time it was four, but now it's six.
Yeah, no, their their ranks have grown a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of went to my dark ages, like my dark age, when season one came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any of the season one sets, like any of the snake sets. or the like the Destiny's Bounty or anything like that.
Okay, fair enough. Do you have any of the Ninjago movie sets?
I have I have one half of all the mechs. I have the Fire Mech, the Quake Mech, and the Green Dragon.
Okay.
And I have Ninjago City.
Yeah, good, good. All right.
It's like right behind my laptop right now because that's the only place I can put it.
Isn't it beautiful though? It's a
I
perfect
love
place
it.
for it.
I took all of my the little people pack, the city people pack.
Yeah, yeah.
I took all the minifigures like that, and I kind of displayed them all around the city doing different things.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I have my sig fig up there too. Um, I also got the Destiny's Bounty because I love the Destiny's Bounty and I want to have all of them.
Hmm.
Um, and it's also on display. It's like on a shelf, like a ship in a bottle kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I
I
have
have,
that too. No, the ship in a bottle, not the Destiny's Bounty.
oh yeah. But yeah, so I went to my Dark Ages around that time. Um, and then I came back when Rebooted happened.
Hmm.
And then I went back and got all the Legacy of the Green Ninja or the Final Battle sets.
Hmm.
Um, and that was pretty much it. I've been collecting Ninjago sets ever since then. I have the Final Fight, Destiny's Bounty, Destiny's Shadow. I don't have Destiny's Wing.
Oh, the
Let's
little kind of red and green one.
yeah. I
Hmm.
have the Land Bounty. That's that's one of the two sets I got at Brick Fair.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fudge.
I didn't actually get it at Brick Fair. On my way back on my way back home, stopped by Atlanta. The bus stopped at Atlanta, so I went over to the Lego store there and bought it.
Okay, have you built it?
I have. It's actually really cool. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. Like it's smaller than the Destiny's Bounty.
Hmm.
Um, but it has a lot of interior space and a lot of place to pose minifigures. And I don't know. I think the functions are really cool. Like one of my favorite functions is in a set is like when if it can steer.
Hmm.
So whenever I saw that it could steer, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely getting this set.
No, I mean that makes sense. Honestly, I mean, it kind of needs to. It's like a boat, kind of needs to float, except for the fact that most Lego boats don't.
Yeah, they need to like make specialized pieces to do that,
Right?
so you can make boats float.
Right?
Do you
Gosh.
remember they had the old the old city boats that had the like it was a singular mold and you built stuff on top of it and it had like a ballast on the bottom that
No,
kept it
no.
afloat. They had these like really heavy pieces that had studs on the top of them, and you could put them on the underside of boats, and it would like act as ballast. And I
Huh.
used to have a couple of those things, and I would always go to the pool and I would play with my boats there.
I don't remember that at all.
I I don't remember where it came from. I just remember they existed.
Dang. That would be really useful now. Because then, you could
Yeah.
have realistic boat functions. See, my favorite, on the subject of the Destiny's Bounty, my favorite function of it is it's very show accurate. If
Hmm.
if you have it on a high space and you push it over, it'll shatter into a million pieces and no longer be functional for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
It's very, very realistic to the show.
I, I love the scene that's like right down the middle where you can just rip it in half.
Exactly, right? It just go, and then it's two for the price of one, really.
Oh, speaking of which, I recently got the Oni Titan, and
Oh yeah.
it's about half the size of Destiny's Bounty, and I just think that's really funny, just because like, you can't really recreate that scene because the Destiny's Bounty, like you can't even pick up the Destiny's Bounty, much less break it in half.
Yeah, figures. That's
Yeah.
not a surprise. Disappointing, but not a surprise.
Oh well.
See, they just
Yeah.
need to make the
Next
Oni.
year at Brick Fair,
Oh, yes,
next year at Brick Fair, I'd love to see like a mock of someone like with like a show accurate, sized Oni Titan.
that would be fantastic. I mean, I don't often see Ninjago mocks at Brick Fair, so it'd be really nice to see more of them.
Yeah. I did see one guy at Brick Fair who did have a Ninjago mock, and I stopped by to talk about it. It was really cool. He had like all of the sets, and I think he had like a few modulars, but um, and he had like some of those like Chinese specific sets, like the boat, the two boats, and the dragon.
Oh yeah. The ones that were only released
Yeah,
in like okay.
now they're released all over the world, but
Mm-hmm.
he had those, and like to be honest, they fit really well.
That's good. I don't know which that speaks better for the Chinese exclusive sets or the Ninjago aesthetic and how they're able
Yeah,
to replicate that. So that's excellent. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't own a Destiny's Bounty. I don't necessarily plan on owning one either. I've always heard good things about them, but it's just, boats
I
just
think
aren't
that
made for me.
I think the Destiny's Bounty, the possession one, the Final Flight. I think that one has a really good function where whenever you pull out the turret in the back, the engines spin around, so it kind of goes into flight mode. I think that's really
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Okay,
I
no,
just think that I just think the ship itself is really small. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
no, you reminded me. I've actually had interaction with that one specifically. It was in Brick Fair 2016,
Oh
and
wow.
Var had purchased it and he built it, and I got to look at that a little bit. So fair enough. There's that one at least.
Yeah, it's good. One thing I don't really like about it is that it's kind of flat on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see boats and they have like you know they're not flat on the bottom. They have like a rounded.
They have the curvature. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the Destiny's Bounty from the movie is that it's really tall and it looks like you could actually put it in water,
Have you
which I
tried?
guess is kind of a bad thing. No,
Oh,
I
dang
like
it.
it too much to do that.
Nuts. I'll find someone who is willing to, and hope they would be interested in a scientific experiment, is what I'll call it.
I put enough Lego sets in water to know what happens to them when you do that. I was around when Atlantis came out.
Fair, fair. I guess that's a question. So you got into Lego themes through first Star Wars, and then eventually you were more of a fan of the original themes and the more story driven stuff.
Mhm.
What's your experience with Bionicle, if any?
Okay, so I actually I've known about Bionicle as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but I got around to it whenever the lore was just completely crazy, and I feel like I was too young and too too it was too overwhelming to me, I guess, because there was
Mm-hmm.
so much lore and I couldn't get into it. I think when I by the time I got into it, I think that what's the fourth movie? Is it Mask of Light?
The fourth,
Yeah,
The Legend Reborn.
Legend Reborn. Okay, which one's the Mask of Light?
That's the first
Was
one.
that? Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
Um, I remember there was also Web of Shadows.
Yep,
Was
that
that
was
one?
the third one.
Okay, that's the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
That one had come out, and so I saw it, and I don't remember anything about it. Most of what my Bionicle knowledge comes from is from Biocraft and Brickonicle.
Oh no. Okay,
Yeah, so I haven't.
Biocraft. You can passably go off of Biocraft, but
Yeah.
Brickonicle, you're doomed.
Oh well. I don't know. I did own some of the sets. I had Tuma, um,
Mm-hmm.
because I really liked the build. I didn't really know much about the character.
That's
I just
okay.
assumed he
He
was a
didn't
bad
have
guy.
much.
Okay. I just really liked the character, and I liked that I like the piston knees and like joints and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I owned Kopaka.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the only reason I bought Kopaka was because he had a red lightsaber blade in his eye,
Okay,
and
Kapaka
I
fans.
needed that
Okay.
for my Darth Vader minifigure.
Oh.
But
Oh, so
um,
you
but
salvaged a piece from him.
I did.
Oh
Oh,
no.
and then I upgraded him like so much. I added like these huge rockets to his shoulders and gave him like a couple jetpacks.
Yeah,
I
no,
did
that's
like
fair.
I upgraded him a lot. So I don't know if that's like acceptable.
I mean,
Uh,
mods are fine. It just hurts my soul a little whenever pieces are just they're siphoned off. Like they're just
it was just
some.
one piece.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I
That's
took
fine.
away I took away his shield though, which I think is heresy at this point.
His shield.
Um, yeah, yeah. I gave him like a spear and then like something else. It was like a blade, like a arm blade or something.
We're still talking about
But
Kopaka Fantoka, right? Kopaka, it's the tall one that was predominantly dark gray, white, and had the lightsaber eye.
yes, that was it.
He never
I think
had a
he had
shield.
Oh, okay. I've always associated Kopaka with a shield, so
Oh,
I
no, I
I
mean,
just
that makes a lot of sense. Kopaka Fantoka didn't have a shield. Every other iteration did.
okay. So I might have gotten the only one that didn't.
Yeah.
And I also had I also had the six like little $6 canisters, which were I don't know what they were called, but like I remember the red one, the orange one, and the white one were the good ones, and the blue one, red one, and black one were the bad guys, and they had like wings and claws and stuff.
Yeah, so you're still thinking of the Fantoka.
Okay, I had all six of those,
Okay.
and that was pretty much my that's pretty much my experience with Bionicle G1. I do have all the Bionicle G2 Toa though.
Oh, really? What do you
I
think of
did make
those?
I really like the CCBS system.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it has like its flaws, especially with like human characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I do
Oh,
think
I
that
agree.
like yeah, I do have the Darth Vader and General Grievous CCBS figures. And I do think those are like some of the best ones that they've done.
Oh, easily. I think Grievous. There is a solid argument to suggest that General Grievous is one of the best CCBS sets. Period.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems is that they kind of sometimes they kind of focus on just the front and they kind of miss the back. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that like I think it was the Commander Cody one that just his entire back was just gone.
No, that's like you just see the skeleton.
Yeah, it was just that and like a gear or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
they fix that eventually,
yeah, I
but
think they fixed that with the Toa a bit. They actually added back armor.
some of them did. So it depends on which Toa. So the 2015 Masters.
I have the original ones, like the ones that came out in the beginning.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have the ones that came out afterwards with like the
Okay.
silver and the silver mask of their primary color.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah. In that case, if it's the Masters, which were the ones from 2015, uh,
Yeah.
kinda. It's gonna vary, but it's mostly just filled in with a gearbox. So,
Yeah, I like the function where they could like swing their arms. I didn't really like the one where they like bend at the waist.
yeah, no, I wasn't
I
as
thought
big of a fan of that either.
I thought it looked weird and also like it just was a weird function.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
just have a yeah.
No, handedly.
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much my whole experience with Bionicle.
All right. Fair enough.
I
Well, you've had one, so that's a plus.
yeah, and I have followed Bionicle since like close to the beginning, but not completely the beginning.
Fair.
So I do know like I do get some of the references, but not all of them.
Yeah. I was dismayed earlier when you said that your knowledge of Bionicle came from Biocraft and Brigonicle, uh, and I was dismayed. To which Sakota was saying, "LJ, stop hurting my feelings. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not saying anything against Brigonicle. I'm just saying if your knowledge of Bionicle comes from that, it's way more confusing because a lot of
Yeah,
names and terms
yeah,
are adopted for other things.
you guys completely skewed my like my knowledge of Bionicle.
Yeah,
You could have said anything and I would have believed you.
exactly. So it's like, oh no, but it's okay. I'll try and fix that one day.
Yeah.
But that's fantastic. So let's go
Yeah.
ahead and, unless there's anything else you'd like to add.
I don't think so.
Okay, excellent. So let's go ahead and
Oh,
move on. Yes.
I had a question. Did you ever get into Monster Fighters?
I didn't. So I knew when it was around. I saw it. I knew a lot of people really enjoyed it, but I never got into it. I'm trying to make that up, make up for that by getting into Hidden Side.
Yeah, I really want to get into Hidden Side. I really hope it succeeds because they don't like they don't have enough system set or enough licensed not licensed themes. Sorry.
Original themes.
Um, yeah, that
Yeah,
they don't have enough original themes. I think like Ninjago and City is like the only and Friends, I guess, but I don't know if that's still going on.
it is. It's actually, so Lego released their, oh gosh, their first half or quarterly. Bottom line, they released their sales figures. There's some statistics and data for like half of 2019, and Friends is actually in the top 6 or so themes for Lego.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
I don't personally like have any of the sets or anything, but I do think it's a pretty neat theme. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of I think it's more successful than like or it's like a better city than City is, I guess.
I
Just
think
because it's like
I actually don't know where City ranked. I don't actually think it's in the top selling themes, so I'm not sure.
hmm.
It's a good question though. But yeah, no, I mean I'm glad that the theme is doing well, and I'm glad people enjoy it.
Yeah, the reason I was asking was just because I didn't get like my Dark Ages was around when Monster Fighters came out,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't get any of the sets, but like I still remember that theme fondly, and apparently like everybody I know like feels the same way. Nobody ever got any of the sets, but they all like think that it's one of the best themes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering if you knew anything about it.
Well, I can tell you right now, the best way to show to Lego that you want a theme like it would definitely be to invest in Hidden Side.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not being paid to say that. I want to make that very good and clear. There's a reason why I'm saying this disclaimer, and it'll become evident later. But yeah, no, it's a really cool theme.
Yeah, support Hidden Side.
Yep. So,
Even the app doesn't work on my phone.
oh wait, what?
It's my device isn't compatible.
Ah, dang. Nuts.
It's fine. I have an older phone, so it makes sense.
Okay, yeah, no, I get you. Fair enough. Okay, so let's talk about your art because you are a prolific artist. Uh, Basically, everything that you have made is unbelievably incredible. I'll go ahead and put up a image you sent me. It is the map, and we'll get to what this map is in just a moment. But first, go ahead and talk a little bit about how you got into art, how you got so proficient in the style that you do.
Mostly self-taught. Um, I've been drawing like pretty much my whole life. That's yeah. I mean, I took a few classes. I took one in I think 10th grade. Like it was how to do portraits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a lot of portraits.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I did a lot of traditional art. Then I got my tablet at the end of high school, and I started drawing on that. Um, Actually, one of my first uses of like digital art was when I was in middle school. My one of my friends was writing a book, and he wanted me to draw. He basically paid me over the summer to come over to his house and draw like the illustrate stuff for his book, and it was like
Wow.
a sci-fi novel. And he basically gave me a laptop and a tablet and said, "All right, here you go. Figure out how to use it." And I had no idea what to do. So a lot of my drawings for that book are like terrible, like compared to now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to do. Like I did everything on one layer mostly,
Oh
and
no!
I colored I flat colored things with an airbrush. Um, I didn't understand that like you could lock layers or do anything like that. I didn't. So basically, what I did was I drew the outline and then I colored it in with like I shaded one side with an airbrush and I tried to shade the other side with the same airbrush. So all the
Oh
stuff
no!
that I did was terrible.
Oh
Um,
gosh, dang!
but as you can see, I've gotten better.
Oh yeah.
I ended up getting the same program, the same tablet, and I practiced a lot with it. And now I feel like I'm uh, at the stage where I could say I'm pretty decent at it.
You're like the first artist that I've talked to from the Lego community, including friends of mine, who has said that. I didn't think there was an artist with a positive outlook on their work. You, you
Yeah,
exist.
I keep all of my one of my things is that like I don't like to compare myself to other artists. I like to compare myself to older work that I've done
Mm-hmm.
because like when you compare yourself to other artists, you kind of I look at other people's art and I'm like, oh, I really like that art style. I really want to emulate that. Um, but I feel like you kind of have to, you know, do you, like have your own style, I guess.
Yeah.
But I still have all of my old art. It's on sketchbooks in storage somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I sometimes like looking through it and saying, "Wow, that was terrible." I'm glad that I learned how to not do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that's good. That's good to that it means you've definitely obviously improved if you can look back at something you've made before and gone,
Yeah,
yeah, this is better now.
yeah,
So that's
um,
outstanding.
yeah,
Okay. Now, in that case, there was something you mentioned before we got into how you became a fan of Lego.
yes.
What was the name of that again?
Legoverse. Is that it?
Legoverse. I
Yeah.
believe so. Uh, let's go ahead and touch upon that.
All right. So the year was 2014, or whatever year Tournament of Elements came out.
Dark and scary year. Continue.
Yes. It was 2014, right, when Tournament of Elements came out. Do you
Let me double
know?
check.
Anyway, it was the year that Tournament of Elements came out, and I was really into Ultra Agents. In fact, Ultra Agents is my second favorite theme.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, I have the big boat from that theme. But anyway, so Tournament of Elements came out, and
15.
Toxikita and Invisible, aka Pale Man, were both in were both in Ninjago, and that gave me an idea, and I was like, wait, okay, so both of the Tox and Pale are in Ninjago, but they're also villains and Ultra Agents. So there's like a connection here. Um, Ultra Agents has Solomon Blaze, who is also a character in Galaxy Squad. So that's another connection. And then there was this old comic that I read that was from a Lego Club magazine that was basically like monster fighters. At the end, Lord Vampire like shot a beam up into space to try to destroy the sun, but it missed and it flew off into space and attracted the Bugoids from Galaxy Squad.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, okay, so those two things are connected. And wait, Ninjago has realms. This was later. Ninjago has realms, and Monster Fighters has the monster realm, and it's kind of like the same method of like travel to get between each other, like, between the two, realms and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started thinking like, okay, a lot of these Lego themes have like references to each other. So what if they're all connected? So I started kind of coming up with all these like ideas and everything. And at this point, basically the idea is that the Legoverse is a project. It's only for fun, so don't be all like, oh, but these two themes don't connect or anything like that. It's just kind of like a fun thing I like to do,
Mm-hmm.
where I combine every non-licensed system theme into one continuous timeline. And
Okay.
there are multiple planets, multiple like periods of time. I have my own pantheon of gods who are I call the Prime-Air, and the first Genjutsu Master is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Basically for the creation story, like the lore, I guess. I combined the lore from Ninjago and Lego Universe. Lego Universe is one of the themes, and our universe, which is the thing that one of my friends is working on, and I'm also working on it, is actually part of the Legoverse. Um,
Okay.
so basically, like you had the podcast about our universe a while ago. So
Mm-hmm.
think of that as kind of like the Star Wars movies, and the Legoverse is basically like the extended universe, where it just kind of expands outward and explains all of like stuff. Um, that like everything's connected and all that kind of stuff. But uh, yeah, so I don't know. I kind of had like all these theories that basically like a lot of Lego themes kind of have uh, the same kind of general story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even like Bionicle and Ninjago to an extent, like the two brothers, fighting, one's good, one's bad, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I originally had my entire creation story planned out, and then Sons of Garmadon came along and
Oh
ruined
no.
all of it
What
with the
what
Oni
what
and
what did Sons of
Dragon
Garmadon do?
things.
I failed to recall.
They introduced the Oni and Dragons,
Oh.
so they had their own creation story, and so I had to be like, which didn't match at all what I came up with. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to go back and I had to redo everything. which was good because I think that now it's better. I guess it's more fleshed out than it was before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but basically, the idea, I'll just like start with the creation story, I guess. So the idea is that um, there's this thing. There's like this. There are two forces in the universe called the Nexus and the Maelstrom, both from like a universe,
Mm-hmm.
and together they form this thing called the Omnibus, and it's kind of like a semi-sapient being, I guess, that creates stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it created the planet Crux, which is kind of like the sheath, I guess. Like the Omnibus kind of rests in the core of Crux,
Mm-hmm.
and it's basically the source of all creation and all destruction. Um, and Crux is like so much bigger than all the other planets. Like it's probably about the size of like a star basically.
Yeah.
But the reason it doesn't crush everybody under the gravity of it is because like the Nexus kind of messes with physics there, so it kind of makes it to where everybody can live on the planet without physics kind of taking over. And it also kind of skews reality a little bit, so that's kind of where the realms came from, like alternate kind of planes. Basically, all the realms exist in various locations on Crux,
Mm-hmm.
and including the first realm, which is one of the realms. And so the Nexus created the dragons, and as a result, the Maelstrom created the Oni.
Mm-hmm.
And the two battled, because that's kind of like in their nature.
Of course.
And the two clashing energies created the Premier, which were beings created of both energies. And so they can use both of them. And the first of these was Ahriman, aka the first Ninjutsu Master. And Ahriman was one of the first god names that I came up with. His name literally means Mr. Gold. So that's kind of and he also has gold skin, like Mr. Gold.
Of course. Does he have that
You
sick
can.
cane? Because in this image you sent me, it looks like he has a sword.
Oh yeah. Can you pull the picture?
Oh yeah, no, it's up.
It is.
There's a little bit of delay on the stream.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So that's actually a design I came up with. I based him off the Golden Mech from the Temple of Light set.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that he was the first named god that I created, and the idea is that the Oni and Dragon are fighting over the Premier, trying to get them to their side. I took a lot of inspiration from the Oni and Dragon story.
Mm-hmm.
But Ahriman decided that he would lead a group of the Premier out of the first realm, and so he befriended Firstborn by basically removing purging himself of all of the Maelstrom that was in him. So he's a pure Nexus. So he's basically like the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, Firstborn, and him became friends, and so Firstborn led him and a group of Premier out of the first realm, where they landed on Crux. And when they landed on Crux, they learned of the Nexus, and they used that to go out and create their own planets.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ahriman created the planet Arum, which contains the island of Ninjago.
Okay.
But it also contains a secondary continent called I originally called it Astoria, but I'm probably gonna redo it, like rename it, because it was an early name.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the map of Arum is there for.
Okay, I brought that up again as well.
Okay. But yeah, the map of Arum, a lot of themes take place on Arum. Ninjago is obviously one of them. A lot of the castle themes do, like Castle 2013, Kingdoms, Knights Kingdom 1 and 2, Pharaoh's Quest, Monster Fighters, Adventures, like Johnny Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Galaxy Squad, Alien Conquest. All of these themes take place in this continent, and then Ninjago's in its kind of own place.
Mm-hmm. It's off to the side there.
Yeah, and this right here, this map that I have is actually of like medieval Astoria,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I've planned out. This is where I'm planning out the story of the original Elemental Masters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping that uh, Tommy Anderson or Baggy Shoot doesn't they don't introduce their own original elemental masters into Ninjago, because I developed these guys to the point where if they do introduce them, I'll probably just write it off as non-canon to like Universe.
That's fine. Do you want to go through a few of them? You sent me some designs here. Do you
Sure.
want to? Okay.
So first off, I just want to say that this is a work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
But so the idea of the original Elemental Masters was combined Ninjago with a lot of the castle themes, like early castle themes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll explain them as we go along.
Okay.
So if you want to start with any one of them.
Let's go with Adrian.
Okay.
All right, and okay, it's all good.
Okay, cool. So Adrian is from the city of Avilia and the continent, or like the country of Estia. Um, Estia is the place where Aster City would later be founded,
Mm-hmm.
the Ultra Agent City. Navilia is the location where power miners would take place.
Oh.
Um, and his whole okay, there we go. Um, he's actually from he's a reference to the Dragon Knights, the Green Dragon Knights from I think it's Kingdoms, Lego Kingdoms, where they had the red and the red Lion Knights and the Green Dragon Knights.
Oh gosh, unfortunately, I'm not sure. That rings a bell, but I'm not sure.
Oh well, yeah. Anyway, he's the Master of Light. He's actually a direct ancestor to Pale, um, but he is related to Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Legoverse, Misako is was a master of energy, and so she kind of passed her power on to Lloyd, and he got the whole golden power from Garmadon's side.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy, he's more like Pale. He has like light manipulation. He can turn invisible. He can also create illusions using light. So he has a really cool power set. Um, but yeah, he's actually one of the least developed people I have.
Oh,
My
okay.
only like his only character is that he's like a pacifist, which really like fits his power set because it's a really like non-violent power set.
Yeah, like
And then
turning invisible illusions,
yeah,
non-combatant.
and he's also an artist, which makes sense because he has illusions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's pretty much that's Adrian, Master of Light.
Okay. I mean, I like the green that you've picked from. I like this color scheme a lot.
Yeah. You can see the Estian nobleman outfit. That's whenever so Estia is ruled by King Edgar Astor,
Mm-hmm.
who is the father of King Leo, who is the king from Knight's Kingdom 1.
Yep, yep.
Um, and so the color scheme for Astor is red and white. So I had him in the red and white cloak of
Okay.
but the idea of Navilia is that or Estia is that King Edgar is planning on expanding his territories, and that includes Navilia. And so basically, Navilia is wanting to fight to gain their independence
Mm-hmm.
from King Edgar, and so that's kind of the whole. That's where the whole theme comes from, where they're both fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the one of my favorite things is like in a fantasy story is like no true like good or evil, because I do
Mm-hmm.
have the Overlord, but like I like whenever things have a reason for like people have a reason for fighting, not just because one side's good, one side's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of things here you'll see are like they're fighting because they have historical like conflict, or because one person's being a jerk and so the other one wants to fight back.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Okay, I like that. I like that. That being in depth with that.
yeah,
Okay. Let's move on to this other design, Arter.
Archer. Yeah. So Archer is he's not really originally based off the Vikings theme, but the Vikings theme has like actual like monsters in it, and
Hmm.
I wanted to have R&B as medieval realistic as possible. Like it does have dragons in it, but that's because of Arwen.
Hmm.
Um, so I moved the Vikings theme over to another planet called Ashlar, which is the medieval fantasy
Yeah.
um, planet, and that's where the fantasy era theme takes place with the skeletons and the trolls and goblins and all that.
Okay.
Um, it's also the Clutch Powers planet,
Really?
uh, Ashlar. Do you remember?
No. If it was in Clutch Powers, no.
Okay, I remember y'all talking about that, so I just
I
I thought I thought
I
that you
saw the
watched it.
movie in 2010, and I have not seen it since.
Okay. Um, so he's actually Archer is actually slightly based off of the Cedric the Bull's tribe
Hmm.
from Knight's Kingdom 1. The country is from De Graulen, which is originally called the Highlands, um, is the homeland of Cedric the Bull, and he actually existed when Cedric was a baby.
Hmm.
Um, and fun fact, so Cedric the Bull was his story on Wikipedia is actually pretty interesting. So he's the 13th son of a king, and whenever the king died, he split all of his land to his sons, and Cedric didn't get anything because he's the youngest. And so Cedric um, goes down and tries to invade King Leo's land. And so I
Hmm.
took that story and I kind of went with it. And I actually have named all 13 sons
Oh my
of the king,
goodness.
including the king himself. So the king is Ysmir Dagger, um, and he's the guy who called the Highlands Daggrauland. And his sons are from oldest to youngest are Yorick, Tiermund, Oscar Uthgar, Dorian, which okay, so I named it before the hurricanes.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
um, let's see, Einir, Tormund, um, what else? Um,
Frank.
Morin, Maven, Perth, Uthgard and Uldric and Cedric. There's one more.
Bob.
Waylon. Waylon was in there somewhere.
Okay.
But I named all of them, and I kind of had this whole like murder mystery kind of thing story going on because the king dies and nobody knows what's going on.
Hmm.
So yeah, I had that going on, but Archer is not part of that at all. He's the Master of Lightning. Um, he is from the small town of Bionicle. Um, he was like it's like a mountain village, um, you know, up in this like one like mountain range. Um, he is I didn't want to like pay too many references to the ninja, so he's
Hmm.
not like all energetic and everything. His character trait is that he's very trusting, I guess. He comes from a very small town which like knows everybody, so he kind of views everybody as family. So which means that like whenever he joins up with the rest of the group and they actually go into the real world, he's really unprepared for it.
Hmm. Yeah, no,
Because he has to
especially coming.
he has to learn that like nobody like not everybody's going to be like nice to him and everything.
Yeah, coming from that background, it's going to be a little turbulent.
Yeah. But he has a brother and sister. His older brother, his name is Conway, and his younger sister's name is Yona.
Hmm.
And Yona was a craftswoman, and Conway was a hunter. And so Archer kind of gained um, both skill sets from that,
Okay.
which is kind of you can see his hunter outfit and then his blacksmith outfit.
Hmm. I like that. I like that. That's really fleshed out.
Yeah, yeah. And during this time, Ysmir Dagger's still king, so I think the story would start out with Ysmir Dagger having Cedric, the 13th son.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to Edwin.
Okay, cool. Edwin's actually interesting. He's one of the ones I've developed like a lot.
Hmm.
So Edwin is from Bergia, which is actually Morsha from Knight's Kingdom
Oh.
2. Um,
So that's something I'm familiar with.
so if you look at the map, if you look at Berja, and you look at a map, the official map of Morsha, you might notice that they're pretty much the exact same.
Oh.
I basically copied and I copied the map of Morsha and then expanded onto it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's from Orlan. During this time, Orlan was king, and he is a member of a group called the White Cloaks, who are called that because of their white cloaks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so northern Bergia is like always snowy, so the white cloaks and the green outfit, the green like suit underneath, help them blend into like the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they do it, and they're dragon hunters. So they have a really it's kind of hard to talk about Bergia without talking about Jokan because they're both like so interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, whenever Armin came like created Arm, he went down to that region, and dragons followed him, and so dragons had existed there since.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like all like baby dragons. So they're all tiny. They have like they have very little intelligence. Um, and Bergia had like Bergia's whole reaction to the dragons is that they're pests and we should get rid of them. So the White Cloaks are formed to basically hunt them down and drive them away.
Mm-hmm.
And so the dragons went over to Jokan, where the Jokani people basically worship them as gods. So they're very different like reactions to these to the dragons. Um, so he's one of like the last White Cloaks, um, because there was this big war that happened. Uh, the Persians had driven all the dragons away, so the White Cloaks weren't really needed. So they started to wane off. Some of them decided to go and like serve as like elite soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Other ones just kind of retired.
Yeah.
And then this big war happened between Jokan and Berja, and so the White Cloaks are needed again because Jokan has dragons. And because of the White Cloaks, the Dracani were defeated, and they kind of had this stalemate basically where they had this region called the Moorlands, which are like this neutral land, and no country could pass over it because it would kind of mean that they're trying to expand the other's territory.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, the White Cloaks weren't really needed anymore, so they kind of waned off. I guess they kind of drifted away,
Yeah.
and Edwin is the only one who's left. Um,
Goodness.
yeah, and so he basically his whole character is he's very nostalgic of the past. He wants the White Cloaks to exist again. Like that's pretty much all he remembers. He's been a White Cloak since he was like 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually fought in the war when he was like I think 16.
Goodness.
Yeah, so he's very nostalgic of like the past. He refuses to let the White Cloaks die, even though everybody he knows has moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's the master of ice. And as you can see, I actually have him as Soul Archer from Possession.
Ah.
Because he becomes a mercenary.
Oh,
And
that.
they call him the Ice Archer, and then later when he he's known as the Soul Archer.
Goodness, that is some interconnectivity. I love that. This is
Yeah.
another design that's also really good. I love the color scheme. And a nice little detail I noticed on the White Cloak outfit. That kind of bird emblem
Yeah.
from, I think his name was Jaco, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So Edwin, he's actually known as Sir Edwin, and he was actually knighted at Talonge, which is why he has the bird symbol.
Goodness. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I said that a lot of them became elite soldiers for different groups.
Yeah.
So early on in Burge's history, there were a bunch of independent city-states that had their own armies, and Jokan were a bunch of tribes called Drakas, and all the Drakas had the same belief that the dragons were gods. They were like gods of fire and the air and all that stuff. Um, and the Jakas would, routinely invade Berja, for supplies and everything like that. And then two of the groups decided, two of the Jakas called Jaka Falcoris and Jaka Angkor, which is the future Ankoria from Knight's Kingdom 2.
Mm-hmm.
They joined together. Angkor was the largest of the tribes, so they had the most land. And Falcoris was the first tribe to train dragons, to actually like ride them, which was seen as kind of controversial to the other tribes because you can't really ride a god.
Yeah.
And eventually, like a lot of the Jakas started to form together into this one country, and they during the unification they sort of shifted their beliefs to instead of all the dragons being gods, they decided that they were gifts from one single god named Jokana, which is where the name Jokan came from.
Mm-hmm.
And so they became one unified country. And so Berja, seeing this, there was this one guy named Eric Berja, which is where that name came from, who said, he was from Morsha, and he said, we need to unite as well, otherwise the Dracani are going to destroy us.
Mm-hmm.
So they do that, and they ended up with like this. Everybody kind of disagreed at first because they didn't want him to become the king forever.
Yeah.
So they ended up with this system where whenever the king dies, they would have a tournament to see who would become the next king, which is actually canon to I believe it's Knight's Kingdom 2.
I don't. So it's been a while since I looked heavily into Knight's Kingdom 2. There was a tournament. Jaco did participate in it, though I believe it was just for a kind of an award. I believe it was kingship.
I remember. No, I don't. I know it wasn't Jaco during that time. It was. I read it as Morsha after Orlan mysteriously disappeared. They had a tournament and Matthias won, and he became king.
Okay, that might be correct. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, Jaco had a weird like coronation,
Mm-hmm.
crowning, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they had that, and that's how the two kingdoms were founded. And so the first war became like rising conflicts sort of started the first war, and then the second war happens during the OEM, like the original Elemental Master's time, whenever the Overlord came, because the Overlord appeared in Jokan, and everybody, the Overlord is basically very draconic in appearance,
Mm-hmm.
and so the Dracani immediately assumed that he was Dracana, and so they began worshiping him, and the Overlord gave them his helmet and basically just told them to cause chaos, and so they saw this as Dracana giving them his word to go to war with Berja, and so that's what they do. And the war actually ends. The dragons are only there because Ahriman was there, and so as soon as Ahriman leaves after defeating the Overlord, the dragons like follow him,
Mm-hmm.
and because the Dracani lost the greatest weapons, they immediately lost, and were taken over by the Mortians or the Bersians, who so they expanded their land out. Decades passed. One guy named Vladek, who was a Dracani.
I recognize that name.
He was the villain from Knight's Kingdom 2.
Yep.
Basically caused a revolution. He used the Overlord's mask, the Vlad mask, to basically create an army of shadow people. The dark like Overlord Stromlings, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it caused like the third Dracani War.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
Yeah, this is the part of ARM that I'm most developed, so I have a lot to say about it.
I can tell. Goodness gracious. Okay. In that case, let's go ahead and do one more character design.
Okay.
Because I think. Oh yeah, yes.
If you did, I've already talked about Drokan, so if you just want to show Varia.
Let me see. Okay, got it. The last one here.
Yeah.
Okay. And go for it.
Okay, so that's Varia. She's the Master Shadow. She's actually a direct descendant or direct ancestor of Shade. Um,
Oh,
and her
okay.
and her powers include uh a thing called shadow melding, which is basically like whenever you're in sufficient darkness, you can basically kind of meld into the shadows and move along them.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, her weakness is light. If any light is shown where she is, then she'll immediately rematerialize and become human again.
Yeah.
But yeah, her journey, I guess, to becoming an elemental master is kind of interesting. But I kind of don't want to spoil it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she is one of the dragon riders, which are called Jakyats in Jokan. So you can see her last outfit is the dragon rider outfit. So that's what the dragon riders would wear,
Mm-hmm.
like on scouting missions and everything.
Yeah.
And then as you can see, the Jokani armor is that armor from Castle 2013, the Black Dragon Knights versus the Blue Lion Knights.
Oh, okay. Gosh,
Mhm.
what great design cues.
Yeah, I like to do as many references as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you want to go to the other two, I'll be quick about those
Okay,
if
yeah,
we're running
sure,
low on
sure.
time.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. Yeah.
Okay.
Here, let's go over to Faye.
Yes.
All right, go for it.
All right. So Faye is from the original Ninja line.
That makes sense.
With yeah, and she's from the island of Volaire in the Burning Isles.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea is that so I looked at the ninja theme on Wikipedia, and there wasn't a lot of story. It was mostly just like the generic, oh, the Shogun is a good guy, and he likes to party with all of his friends, and the evil Kendo is like wants to steal his rubies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, basic
Um,
early Lego theme stuff.
yeah, so I kind of took it in a different direction. I kind of thought like, what if this is actually like a dystopian thing that the Shogun is telling all of us that like, oh, we're super fun, come join us. Um, so I had this idea that like Volaire and the northern island of Cabianos were two kind of kingdoms that were kind of rivals with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Cabianos has like the bandits, and Volaire has the like the samurai and everything.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a militaristic theocracy
Mm-hmm.
where they actually worship one of the premier unknowingly. Um, Both of them worship two gods, Solionos and Elos, the gods of fire and water. And but the Valerans worship Solionos, and the Kabian people worship Elos.
Mm-hmm.
And they obviously go to war over like which is better. And the idea is that the emperor Gidan, or the shogun, I guess, has basically fooled everybody into thinking that Cabianos is attacking them.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result, he's kind of creating this huge army by
Mm-hmm.
conscripting people into it. And Faye is one of those conscripts. Yeah, well, okay. And the group, like his group, I guess, is called the Sun Guard. And so that's what the last armor is.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what the elite soldiers wear. And yeah, so her whole thing is that she doesn't want to be like she doesn't want to be part of like that military thing. She just wants to. She's really stubborn and like um doesn't really like to see alternatives, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
like she wants to be a sailor like her dad, um, who I don't want to spoil anything about him.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so there's this whole thing where she becomes the fire elemental and gets chased out of Valair and has to come back and kind of free everybody from Gidan and all that stuff.
Goodness gracious. Gosh. And again, I love these designs because not only is
Thank
this
you.
this color scheme is so reminiscent of those early ninja themes.
Yeah, I really like to. I'm really the original design for Faye was just all red and gray. And I didn't really like that, so I wanted to put like a third color scheme in there. So I chose like this really like drab green,
Mm-hmm.
which I
Yeah.
think works really well.
No, I agree. I think that it's really striking and contrasting.
Yeah, I didn't want to be like the kind of oh their element is this, so they have to wear this color. I
Yeah.
wanted it to be sort of like a they're from this country, so they would wear this color,
Yeah.
I guess.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah,
Now let's look at this last design here. Kaya? Is that
Kaya.
Kaya?
Yeah.
This one interests me the most because on the right you
Oh yeah.
have this armor that is
Uh
so.
huh.
Did you ever see Bionicle Journey to One?
I didn't.
Okay, so
I'm assuming there's a reference to it.
in like the second to last or last episode, the Toa of Stone, Pohatu, in kind of like his anger makes this almost exactly like this armor, this suit of stone. He does it once, he never does it again. It's never explained, and none of the others do it.
Ooh. Yeah. I'd like to avoid that.
Yeah,
If
that would be
possible.
ideal.
Yeah. So yeah, she's the master of Earth. She's from a country called Rostad. I actually have a lot of history about Rostad, but I want to make it quick.
Okay.
So Rostad is the place where Amset Ra is from. He's the guy from Pharaoh's Quest, the mummy.
Oh.
And other notable mummies, I guess, include Hotep from Johnny Thunder. Pharaoh Hotep, who was a son. Um, Basically, whenever I took a lot of inspiration from Oriental Expedition and like Egypt and all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
when making like these countries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there are two major cities in Rostad. There's Farah, which is kind of like the Egyptian um, city, I guess. It's based off of Egypt. It has the pharaohs and all that, pyramids and all that.
Yeah.
And then Rosan, which is down in the south, and it's kind of based off of India. So it's kind of like the Taj Mahal looking building from Adventures is there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Um, but yeah, so she's from Rosan, so she's like from down south, and Rostad's kind of whole thing is that they had this huge road that like goes along the coast, called the Golden Coast,
Mm-hmm.
because the sand's there,
Yeah.
and both cities are on the coast, so it's really easy to get from one city to the other. All you have to do is follow the shoreline,
Mm-hmm.
and she's part of a caravan called the Golden Coast Caravan, which is one of the first, like one of the oldest caravans to like exist during that. And they basically trade goods from Farah, Rosan, and then they like also trade from. They have a network that goes to like Elemen, which is like over in the east, and all the way to Fulton, which is over in like the SDN area.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so she's the master of Earth. She's very diplomatic, I guess. She doesn't uh like she's not like Faye who kind of like jumps into battle. She does like to think things out
Mm-hmm.
before. She's not afraid to like resort to violence, but like she before that she kind of likes to take all of the roads before,
Yeah. Try and make it a last resort.
Yeah, exactly. Um, she's also a collector, and so she likes to collect coins from different, like currency from different areas and regions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's kind of like I like to put a little quirks and everything in that in different characters. Um,
Goodness.
yeah. Let's see. She doesn't really have any weapons. So her primary form of attack is to thrust her fist into the ground and then come out with like these big earth gauntlets. And of course, she also has the super strength of being an earth elemental.
Yeah.
So just imagine her with the earth armor, but just the gauntlets. That's kind of what she has. She's kind of like a blunt, like punching kind of
Yeah.
fighter.
Okay. That's really clever. Now she reminds me a lot of Cole from Ninjago. I'm
Hmm.
going to assume this is potentially intentional.
She's a direct ancestor.
Okay, yeah, there you go. All right, and I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Faye is a direct ancestor of Kai. Edwin is not related to anybody. He actually passes his power around to his friend.
Oh.
His name is Siggy Aldrin or Sigismund Aldrin, who
Okay.
actually has the blonde hair and blue eyes of Zane, of my version of Zane. Um,
Okay.
and he's a direct descendant, a direct ancestor of Dr. Julian. Or no, sorry, not Dr. Julian.
The Ice Master.
The the Ice Master. Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goodness.
And who's it? Archer is a direct ancestor of Jay.
Okay. Wow. See, this is great because I'm echoing a lot of what's being said in the live chat. I'm a sucker for stuff like this. I love the interconnectivity, taking the little hints and winks and nods here and there, and connecting it, and then expanding on it, making its own story, making its own world. Like
Yeah.
this is such a full realization of that potential.
Yeah, and this is why I love not licensed themes because you can kind of either the story is developed enough to where you can kind of introduce like little points into your world and get inspiration, or there's not enough, there's so little story that you can kind of create your own and work with it.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of Ninja,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so like the whole premise, and I actually I've actually been toying with the idea of creating a graphic novel of this,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't actually like set like a schedule for it yet. I'm still kind of creating the story. But the idea is that there is this war happening on Crux, with like the War of the Gods, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Araman doesn't know anything about this. He's been on Aram. He's just kind of like been living around, doing his own thing. Um, but the four dark gods who like recently returned from the first realm. Those are the Overlord, um, the Darkitect from Lego Universe,
Mm-hmm.
Antimatter from Ultra Agents, and Lord Vampire from Monster Fighters. Those four basically return and escape the first realm and have like started war with all the rest of the Premier who were there.
Mm-hmm.
And Araman is kind of doing his own thing, but the Darkitect, who is the leader of these guys, decides that Araman can't live because he's too powerful, and if the Premier, like ever managed to contact him, he could possibly, destroy them.
Mm-hmm.
So he has the Overlord go down, who is he's a lieutenant. He has him go down and basically like, you know, destroy him when he's unaware, when he's like vulnerable. And Araman during this time has basically been living as a mortal, without his power. He stashes power at the Temple of Light. Um,
Oh.
and he was in Drokan during this time, which is why the Overlord landed down there. And without his power, Araman was no match for the Overlord, and the Overlord nearly killed him. But Araman basically split his soul into six pieces, and the six elements that make up the Nexus, and housed himself within these six elemental masters. So
Goodness.
that's kind of the origin of the elemental masters, is that they all stolen. And because of this, I wanted to have Araman kind of be their sensei. Like how Master Wu is the sensei to the ninja.
Yeah.
Araman is the sensei to the original elemental masters.
That makes so much sense. Gosh, that is so clever.
Yeah, and their whole journey is basically they have to get to the Temple of Light Ninjago. The Overlord does, and basically return his power to him so that he can create himself a new body, which is the golden mech body that you see here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so he can gain his full power, destroy the Overlord, and then go and fix whatever problem is happening over at Crux.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And another little detail is that Omega was actually another one of the people who was involved in the war. Um, and so Araman goes and fights him as well and destroys him, sends him to the Departed Realm.
I like
Um,
that.
yeah, where he would later return.
Goodness gracious. Now, that is something you briefly touched upon it, and it was something I was going to ask. What format this would be presented in. You mentioned a graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
My natural conclusion to jump to would be, like comic, like an online comic. But what is really what you're tossing around at the moment?
I really want to do like I'm still planning out the story. I would like to do like I don't want to make it a weekly thing because I don't think I could hold myself to that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would get too stressed out and not like eventually do it.
Yeah, I get
But
you.
I would like to at some point finish the like planning out the story and make a graphic novel basically. Do it at my own pace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it would basically be the journey of these six elemental masters meeting up and going to Ninjago where they end up fighting the Overlord.
Yeah. Goodness. All right. I mean that's perfectly fair because you definitely
Yeah,
want to be careful about tempering expectations and how you go about managing all of this. Because obviously, just from what you've said, it's so expansive. Everything has been so thought out that the
hmm
handling would need to be done in a very specific way.
yeah. It can't. I don't really want it to make it too exposition heavy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I feel like if I with this much information, it would kind of feel like that
Yeah.
where everybody's kind of saying like, oh, back in the past this happened and all that. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you listened to it. So I had the Bionicle author Greg Farshtey on a few weeks ago,
hmm
and he was talking a little bit about world building. A question had come in about world building and his advice for how to do it well. And some of the advice that he gave was to bring information up casually. So not in an exposition sense where it's like, I am from Idaho. Idaho is the 14th state, as you know. We
Yeah,
also produce so many potatoes. Stuff like that. But to bring it up naturally, like we're already supposed to know it. Because the characters, of
yeah,
course, already know it.
yeah. And I do have some plans like Varia and Edwin's their whole roles, I guess, their relationship was kind of in conflict because they're both one of them's a dragon hunter and one of them's a dragon rider. Um, and so they have a lot of conflict. And then there's kind of Archer who's there, um, kind of in the middle, kind of wondering what they're talking about. So there's a position for that to like an option for that to happen, for stuff to be explained through Archer.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
but
that's good to have.
yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much the Legoverse. There's a
Goodness.
lot more stuff. This is just the medieval section.
Goodness. That is intense. But it's so
yeah, there's
good.
yeah, there's also like I haven't even talked about Amsut Ra and how he becomes a mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or like um uh yeah, the other realms, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Or any of like the futuristic stuff.
Gosh
Like
dang.
like all the classic space stuff was really easy to do because all exist in a continuous universe. Like
Mm-hmm.
Blacktron, Space Police One, Mtron, um, Ice Planet, all of those exist on you know like in one universe canonically. So
Yeah.
it was really easy to combine them.
Now, I have an important question I must ask.
Sure.
Does Chima factor into any of this?
Yes, but it's very separate, and they don't really affect anything.
Hmm.
They're one of the realms on Crux. And
Okay.
okay, so the plot of like a universe, right? You know how Crux gets destroyed, like right at the beginning.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so at the end of Chima, whenever it kind of zooms out and um Chima is basically just one little floating island in like a middle of a bunch of like this huge world. It was like a bunch of floating islands.
Yeah.
The that was the idea of like basically Chima happens kind of in a post Crux explosion world,
Okay.
which sort of fits into with Ninjago.
Mm-hmm.
Basically the idea is that uh Ninjago and Lego Universe take place at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're running side by side, and it ends at March of the Oni. Lego Universe does.
Oh.
Um, it actually kind of makes sense in the show if you interpret some of the stuff that Garmadon says in Sons of Garmadon, where he says like talks about the departed realm and there was nothing but darkness in the departed realm, all that stuff. Well, the departed realm in the Legoverse is actually the center of the omnibus, like the core of Crux,
Hmm.
um, which like the Nexus and the Maelstrom. And during Lego Universe, the core is basically all Maelstrom at this point, which means that the departed realm is all Maelstrom, which means that like what the Garmadon says is technically true, but
Oh
if you like
no!
interpret it in a different sense.
Goodness, that like I know I've said this already, but that's really clever.
Yeah, I studied the Ninjago episodes. Like I pick apart like different things. Like every time there's like a name drop, um, or anything like that, I write it down so that I can
Mhm.
like remember it later.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just like,
good.
oh, that's a really interesting little detail. Oh man, like I could add this in there. Like
That is, I mean,
like
that's just super impressive. I wonder though, how is Hidden Side gonna fit in all this?
so it'll take place way before Ninjago, and unless the show comes out and there's a blatant reference to it. But
Okay,
it takes place around the same time as a little bit after Monster Fighters. Um, and
okay.
it's and it's the ghosts are coming from the cursed realm.
Hmm.
There's a company or like an institution on RM called Brick, which is actually a real um, Lego Universe thing.
Hmm.
It stands for the Bradford Rant Institute for Cosmic Kinesis, and their whole goal in the Legoverse is to uncover the secrets behind the realms and how they work. Um,
Oh.
and so they were a big factor in Lego Universe, and they existed during Hidden Side, during when Hidden Side would take place. And the idea
Mhm.
is kind of like a Stranger Things type scenario.
Okay, yeah.
Just to answer Tesla Effect's question,
Hmm.
I did say at the beginning that it's a system, uh, a very non-licensed system theme.
Yeah, so
Construction, like
construction wouldn't fit into that.
Hero Factory, wouldn't doesn't count either.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Just to keep it consistent.
Yeah, I tried to include Bionicle into it, but the I couldn't figure out like the lore, I guess. I
Honestly,
would need,
I don't think Bionicle would work with this
yeah,
because
it's
Bionicle has a lot of instances similar to this, not in the sense that it connects to other themes, but in the sense that there are multiple very different dimensions.
yeah.
So it
Eh,
already has a lot on its plate anyway. I don't
there are actually some
necessarily,
themes
yeah.
that I try to include, um, that are just like media in the Legoverse. Like
Hmm.
the Clutch Powers movie, is so weird, that like I just say that it's just a it's just a movie within the universe. It's
It's
meta.
just a
It,
Hollywood
it,
production.
it's a movie that Clutch Powers himself made to make himself look cool.
Oh my gosh! And that, I mean, honestly, that seems exactly like something Clutch would do.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's funny. Oh man.
um. Yeah. Yeah, and I actually have stuff that like happens after Lego Universe. Next Nights actually takes place after Lego Universe.
Oh
Um,
really?
it takes place on Ashlar, that
Hmm.
the the medieval planet.
Hmm.
Um, the whole idea is that a lot the three main planets that kind of helped in Lego Universe were Arum, which is where the Assembly faction came from, and probably the Paradox, at least some of them.
Hmm.
And then Ashlar is where the Sentinels came from, and Moan, which is like a water steampunk planet, is where the Adventure League came from.
Hmm.
And uh, so afterwards, Arum kind of went to Ashlar and introduced a lot of their technology to Arum or to Ashlar, and because their culture didn't have a lot of time to catch up, you end up with these really high tech like knights.
Hmm.
They have all this technology but don't really have like the same culture, so they're still like in this kind of medieval like era culture.
Hmm.
So you end up with like like mechanical horses and power like suits of power armor that's actually like medieval armor.
Hmm.
Um, so like and it was actually the Nexus Knights actually uh come from Nexus Knights, which is the thing
Uh,
that
uh,
Duke Exeter, the faction leader of the Sentinels, he returned to Ashlar and created the Nexus Knights, which were later called the Nexus Knights.
Goodness. That connects so well.
And I took a lot of inspiration from. I actually did watch the first season and a half of Nexus Knights, and I took some like names and everything from it.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, Nexus Knights has a lot of the same kind of uh, insert name, bill, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I still need to finish Nexonites. It's on my list of things to do. I am going to do it. I just need to actually get around to it.
Yeah, I don't really know where to find it, so it's probably on
Yeah.
Netflix or something. I don't know.
It might be Ninjago is, so there's hope.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I actually went back and rewatched a lot of the episodes with one of my friends on Discord. We had like a big viewing night, like where we watched most of it.
Hmm.
Um, so now she's caught up and it's cool.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah. So I ended up like rewatching all of Ninjago from like the early seasons up to now.
Hmm.
And I gotta say, like, I don't know. A lot of people don't like the redesigns, but I think I like them more than the original designs, to be honest.
I
That's a
agree.
controversial opinion to many.
No, I
Uh,
absolutely agree. I think that the new designs, I personally find them to be better. I think
mhm.
they're far more personalized. They're far more distinct. I'm much more of a fan of them than I was their prior designs.
Yeah, and from an artist perspective, it's a lot easier to draw them just because they're more distinguished. I guess they have
Hmm.
more detail. Um, like the main argument I had was that like a lot of their um a lot of their hair, with the exception of Zane or no, sorry, Kai, they were all just like generic city pieces that you could find in city.
Yeah.
In fact, there was this one RV set that I got that literally had Jay and Nia. They're like as like as civilians because they had the black bowl cut and like the light brown city hair.
Yeah.
Um, and the one thing I like about them now is that like whenever people talk about oh like what's that? I'm looking for this specific hairpiece. Oh, it's the J hairpiece instead of just like the oh it's the generic city hairpiece.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I
Yeah,
much prefer
and
them.
yeah, and yeah, the animation is also amazing.
It's better
Especially
than
like
it's ever been.
I especially like the animation in Sons of Garmadon with like neon, like everything happens at night, and
It's
it,
very
it just
atmospheric.
yeah, it has a really good aesthetic.
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly. One change I actually particularly like about the new designs specifically is that they changed Jay's hair color from that orange
Hmm.
to dark brown. I think that's a much
Yeah,
better change.
yeah. Everybody said that Jay was a redhead, and I never saw that just because like his hair is just light brown.
Hmm.
I don't know where they got the red hair from,
It's
but
because his set, his hair in the set is orange, technically speaking. Uh,
oh,
it,
got it. Okay,
in the show, it is brown.
okay.
So it
Well,
was, mm,
brown is just dark orange, so
yeah,
whatever.
well, exactly. And I mean, as you get older, your hair will darken. So
Yeah,
it's not out of left field or anything. I think it makes perfect sense, and I much prefer it.
yeah. My favorite redesigns are Cole because I think that I really like his new hairpiece.
Hmm.
It's really easy to draw. Um, I think one of the problems I had with early like original Cole was that his hair like went swept past his eyebrows, and his eyebrows are really like one of his most distinctive features.
Yes. Yeah. So I kind of covered them up and didn't give him a whole lot of his own.
Yeah, but his new hairpiece has a really prominent part in it, which like shows off his eyebrows, and it's a lot easier to draw him.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
100% agree.
yeah, I just wanted to say that because I know that a lot of people don't really like the redesigns.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I do agree with Tesla Effect is that Kai has a permanent bandage on his face,
Yeah.
and uh, I kind of wish I'd taken that off, like for the show sets.
Yeah, I get that. I don't necessarily disagree. It also doesn't bother me too much, but I understand.
Yeah, you barely notice that the tear covers it.
Yeah, so that's okay. All right. So I think it's about time. Do you want to get into some questions? Yep,
Bring
Joshua's
those
still there.
questions.
Oh, hang on. It might be a little. Let me see. Okay. Questions. Yes. I can't tell. We might be having some connectivity issues.
Are you getting from getting them from the chat
Okay. There
or
we go.
from like?
There we go.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll be doing both. So I'll open up the YouTube live chat to questions, and then we are also going to go to some that have been sent in via email. So we're going to go
okay.
ahead and do that first. So first one. Let me see here. Okay. So the first question is from a previous asker of questions, Sir Lojan, and he asks us once again. I ask your guest if you could switch the run times of any two LEGO themes, for instance, having G2 Bionicle run as long as HF and vice versa, what would they be?
So basically, like, do you mean like the longevity of the theme? Like instead of 2.5 waves, it's like or seasons, I guess it's longer.
Yes, but in you would trade that off for another theme. So, for instance, Fabuland ran for 10 years, and
Uh-huh.
Bionicle G2 ran for 1.5. You'd swap them so that Fabuland runs for 1.5 and Bionicle G2 runs for 10.
Got it. Okay. Well, I don't want to switch anything with Bionicles because I feel like I'd make you mad.
No, go for it. Go for it. By
Uh,
all means.
um, one my second favorite theme is Ultra Agents, so I'd really love if Ultra Agents would like ran a lot longer. I'd love to see all the villain designs I could come up with. Um, so I'd rather have like a really long um Ultra Agents
Hmm.
than like a longer theme like Bionicle. Let's just say Fabuland, okay? Fabuland ran for 10 years. I can work with that.
Okay, perfect.
I
Yeah, no, see,
I
that's
don't
why I
want to
bring
make
it
any
up.
Bionicle. By saying like, oh, I want Bionicle to only last for 2.5 waves.
Yeah, no, I bring up Fabuline, so it's an easy out. It's like, phew,
Yeah,
okay, we're good. The only one that's going to be upset about that is just too good.
yeah.
So, okay, his other question was if you could have any two LEGO themes crossover, what would they be? For instance, I would have Alpha Team crossover with Exoforce.
That's a good thing. Well, my two favorite themes have already connected, so um, let's see. I'd love to have like I don't know. I'd love to have like a more Johnny Thunder, I guess, in Ninjago. I
Mm-hmm.
think like that'd be kind of cool. Um, I made this tweet a while ago that, or recently that was like that Johnny Thunder was the number one explorer in the Explorers Club. Um, yeah, I know there were some references to that in Ninjago City Docs, but he hasn't been really in the show.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
So yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, cool, cool. I'm going to echo that one, honestly. Next email question is from Flaming Ninja, who says this: Dear LJ and Joshua, I think this next question might be touched upon before we get to questions, but I'd like to ask anyway. Thankfully, it hasn't been. Have you two seen the new trailer for the Ice chapter, and what are your thoughts on the anime sequence, among any other thoughts you might have on the Ice chapter going forward?
Ooh, okay. I have seen it. I've also seen the
The
latest
episodes.
episodes, and I don't want to talk about them because I know that a lot of people haven't seen them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just want to say that I really do like the anime style, and I would really like it if they. I think it's really cool that they did it like in an episode. But I would also like it if they if that became a success and they ended up actually making like a mini series using that animation style.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit more fluid, I guess. I had always imagined like a Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of animation style with Ninjago. Like, I thought that would be kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, yeah. I'm also gonna
But
echo. Oh, sorry. Please continue.
oh, sorry. As for the season itself, the ice chapter and the fire chapter, I think the fire chapter was pretty good. I did like all the filler episodes, especially the news one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the fact that they actually like introduced more lore with a serpentine and everything, and gave us more names like Mamba, like King Mamba the Fifth, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I really like it whenever they do that, like give us history.
Yeah.
Um, and the ice chapter so far has been amazing, especially like it's a lot darker. It's more Sons of Garmadon ish than the fire chapter. Like it's just kind of like that. It reaches to like the more adult, side of Ninjago and gives us kind of like a more emotional theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'll echo a lot of that. I will probably be talking more in depth about my thoughts on Ninjago Cast, so I won't
Mm-hmm.
say too much here. But the ice chapter rocks. It has been
Yeah.
really good thus far, so I'll say that at least. So, all right. So we are getting into the YouTube live chat questions. Oh yeah, so Tesla Effect asks, Josh, would you ever consider working with someone to make custom minifigure prints and selling them of your designs?
Do I love to do that?
Ooh.
I actually at Brick Fair they had a lot of those custom printed like vendors, and I bought a lot of stuff from them. I'm not one of those people who like thinks like, oh, they printed stuff on Lego. It's not pure Lego, so I can't buy it. I
Mm-hmm.
think that there are a lot of prints that Lego hasn't made that I really want. And so I really like the vendors that make their own custom prints and sell them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would totally be down for doing that.
Excellent. Now, would the skin colors be flesh tones or yellow?
Both. They had a lot of the vendors I saw had both, and then they even had like skin tones and like white skin tones. They just had different like colors in general.
Okay.
But I actually prefer like yellow, the yellow
Yeah.
skin tone.
Yeah, same.
Just because it's there are a lot more choices, I guess. A lot of the um a lot of the skin tone piece like heads are for licensed sets, so you kind of get more I guess like not really like generic. I guess they're more specified for a specific character
Mm-hmm.
in some cases, but I don't know. I prefer the yellow skin tones.
Yep. No, I agreed. Okay. Next question is from Sakota. Hi, Joshua. I've seen a lot of your art on Twitter, and it's really great to hear you explain it all. Question: do the elemental masters have to reach their full potential like in Ninjago?
Okay, so the whole idea is that whenever they're far apart, they're literally stronger together. When they're far apart, Aramin's soul is like very far. The pieces of his soul are very far apart. When they're together, he's more himself. And so I wanted to have a thing where when they're far apart, they can kind of hear like voices in their head from Aramin, kind of telling them what to do. The more people kind of get together, the stronger Aramin gets because his soul is more together in that sense. So he's
Mm-hmm.
able to appear to them. But I don't really know of any way to recreate the full potential things without them basically just training, I guess.
Okay.
Um, they basically become stronger when they're together because the pieces of their soul, of Armin's soul that's inside of them, is stronger
Yeah,
when they're together.
that makes sense to me. Okay, Sakota also asks, did you play Lego Universe? And if so, what was your favorite faction?
I didn't play Lego Universe. I played it for like a day when it was free, and then like a week after they ended it. So I
Okay.
never really got the chance. But I do actually have Dark Flame Universe installed on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been able to play it yet because I haven't been able to get on. But I mean, they're doing a good job over there, so I'll wait for them, patiently.
Okay, that's fair.
As for my favorite faction, Sentinels, because I really like knights and I like tank. I like playing tank characters when I play video games.
Ah, yep. No, I agree with that one. Okay. More so the tank side of things. I'm not familiar enough with LEGO Universe. So.
Oh yeah, I just like the heavily armored tanky characters in games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, whenever I play Overwatch, I'm playing Reinhardt. So. Okay, Tesla Effect asks, Josh, which Premiere?
Premiere.
Okay, is your favorite, and why isn't it antimatter?
Well, it is antimatter, so
Got him.
um, actually, one of my favorite Premiere that I've done is his name is Zyzer. And he's I'm assuming. Can I send a picture, like, real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Let's see. Where is he? Got him. So this is what he looks like. All right, I sent you the link.
All right, there we go. And then I will bring this over.
So he's the creator of Zotax, which is the planet where UFO and Insectoids takes place on, or Insectoids take place on Holix, but they're Zotaxians too, so they're from Zotax. Basically, whenever the Premier landed on Crux, they used the Nexus to create themselves like new bodies.
Mm-hmm.
But Zyzer believed that using the Nexus to create things like organic material was cheating, and so what he did was he created he used the resources on Crux to create himself robotic bodies.
Oh.
And so this is one of his bodies, and the blue orb in the middle. If it's up right now, the stream is lagging, so I can't really. Okay, there we go. The blue center, like the blue orb, and his stomach is his true form. Is the true form of the Premier.
Okay.
And he basically just rides it like a mech, and he can go from suit to suit whenever he wants.
That's really cool.
Yes, he's basically like Blue Orb God Iron Man.
Gosh, it just sounds so ripe with potential.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
But yeah, Zotax is my cyberpunk world. So the UFO are people like those guys with like the really heavy armor and like the dog-shaped masks.
Somewhat.
Brains. So those guys are like the ruling class. They're the guys who have basically altered themselves so much they're hardly human anymore, or hardly organic anymore. It's just like their brains are there, like only their brains remain. And the Insectoids were a group of rebels who were who wanted to escape, go to Gallant 5, which is at the time was the new capital of the galaxy, and basically get help to destroy the UFO, or at least expose them.
Mm-hmm.
But on the way they landed on Holix and they had to escape.
Huh.
And that's the theme of Insectoids came in, where they had to build their ships like as bugs.
Okay. Again, that clicks in so well. Fair enough. Okay. In that case, next question is from Brother W. With 2 questions. What's your opinion on The Last Jedi?
Do I have to answer this?
Joshua. This is important.
Okay. So I really like Star Wars.
It will.
Yeah, I know your opinions on it, so I knew that's yeah.
Yeah, it's risky biscuits.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about it. I just want to say that I didn't like it.
Okay, no, that works with me. Trust me. Okay, so Tesla Effect asks, Josh, I see you used the Ice Queen from the CMF series for your characters. Are there any more CMF besides Mr. Gold you used for your universe?
Any more CMFs?
Collectible minifigures?
Yeah, for the universe, or the Premiere. Because for the premiere, I used the Battle Goddess minifigure for Syra, the Goddess of Lightning. She's the creator of Ashlar.
Oh.
All my art is on my Twitter page, so y'all can go look that up if y'all need references, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I use that. I use a lot of CMFs as references.
Mm-hmm.
King Leo's son, King, whose name is King Edward,
Mm-hmm.
who actually exists in. He doesn't actually have a minifigure in Lego Universe, or not Lego Universe, Knights Kingdom 1,
Mm-hmm.
but he's name dropped as King Edward, or as Prince Edward. And that's the classic King, the Burger King minifigure, is him.
Oh.
And the Queen is Queen Honora Feldias, who was his wife, and who was the Queen of Fulton, who was like in the western side
Mm-hmm.
of Aram or Astoria.
Okay.
But yeah, I use a lot of CMFs. I can't really name them all off the top of my head, but I do use a lot of them
Okay.
as references. And whenever a new one comes out, I always like to look at the characters and see which ones I can introduce. The blue laser robot. He was like a blue and black robot. He had his accessories of two like lightning bolts.
Nah, it's not coming to mind.
Well, anyway, he's a character that I have.
Okay.
And the green, there's a version of him that's green, like another robot that's like him. And he's the second leader of Black Tron, so he's the leader of Black Tron Generation 2.
Ah.
For example, yeah.
Gosh. Okay. I like that. That's really cool. Okay. The next question is from Jeremy Jason, who asks, what is your favorite element and which LEGO region would you inhabit?
My favorite element would be Earth. Because I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you can do a lot of earth bending. It also has like the most like alternatives, like lava bending and metal bending stuff. So I
That
really
makes
like
sense.
that. My secondary favorite is probably fire, just because like who doesn't like fire? I
Yeah.
guess as an element.
Yeah.
But yeah, Earth is my favorite. As for which Lego region,
Mhm.
do you, I'm not sure what that means. Do you mean like which Lego theme, or
Uh, it's not specified, but usually, like, so for Bionicle, for instance, there's the island of Matanui, and it has 6
Mhm.
distinct regions. One, it's an ice region, one is a stone region, one is an earth region, so on.
got it? Okay. Which Lego region would I inhabit? If this is about Bionicle, then I'm not sure. I don't know
No,
much
no, it's
enough
it's
about
it's
the.
not. Yeah.
I'd say that I'd live in my own world. I actually live on Gallant 5. If I had to live in a Lego region I created,
Hmm.
because it's basically the capital, and it's like a super high tech uh like city, kind of like Coruscant basically.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's the capital city. And it's kind of like the most diverse. There are a lot of aliens that live on that planet,
Okay.
so I would live there.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Tesla Effect asks, "Is Fomina the goddess?"
Femina.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Is that the goddess of the phoenixes from Chima?
Yes, she is. She's the creator of Chima.
There we go.
She yeah, she existed. She thinks she was the second character that I created, the second premiere that I created.
Okay.
Um,
All right. That
and
works.
she's the creator of Chi. She basically had the idea to condense the elements into a stone that mortals could use.
I have a lot of jokes I can make right now, but I will refrain. Okay. Brother W asks, "Have you ever eaten a mangosteen?"
I haven't,
Dang.
but I heard they're delicious.
They are the inside, not the outside.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know of any place that sells them here. So
Asian markets would be your best bet.
okay, I'll try that out.
All right. Next question is from Tesla Effect, who asks, Josh, if LJ helped you to understand the wonderful world of Bionicle and its rich lore, would you eventually include it into your universe?
That'll take a really long time.
It will. A very long time.
That's like 10 years of lore. That'd be like if I tried to explain the lore of Ninjago to someone who only watched season one.
Yep.
But I mean, there's a 1% chance that could happen.
Again, it is a lot.
Yeah.
So, okay. Mecha X asks, here's my question. Why is Zane Native American?
Okay, so this is an inside reference. Mecca's one of the people in OU,
Oh.
and whenever we were watching Ninjago, he appears like I think at the end of Hunted,
Mhm.
and he's only seen up to I think he's only seen up to like Rebooted, I think.
Mhm.
And so he comes in and immediately sees like the redesigns and everything is different and has no idea what's going on. And I have no idea why. Oh, I guess maybe because Zane has a bow. I have no idea.
All right.
But yeah. So that was where I said like try to explain the lore of Ninjago to someone who's only seen season one. I was referring to him.
Okay, I see. Okay. In that case, Brother W asks, what do you think about putting pineapple on pizza?
Never tried it. I don't really care for food on pizza, in general.
Fair enough. All right. Tesla Effect asks, let me see, a few more questions from him. One, would you be up for collaborating with Nick on Planet Ripple with some
Ooh,
neat
okay.
Lego-related works or other Lego artists?
Okay, I just want to thank Nickel Planet Ripple heavily because this guy has like okay, so Wikipedia and Nick have basically like fueled my information on the Legoverse.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of things I didn't know about certain Lego themes that Nick like somehow knows, like figured out somewhere. And I watch his videos like religiously trying to like pick apart stuff that happens in certain themes.
Okay.
Like I had no idea they had concept art for the other castles of Knight's Kingdom 2 until I saw screenshots of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Nick does a really good job researching his videos. They're absolutely excellent.
Yeah, so I would like definitely be interested in that.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Next is from Tesla. What artists do you really like, and do you have any other artwork that inspires you?
Actually, yeah. So when I was in high school, I didn't really draw a lot of Ninjago art because I didn't really like. I didn't watch the show until after Rebooted came out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back and rewatched it. But I remember there were a couple of artists who I really liked. You know, Purple was one of them who drew Ninjago art, and it really got me into it.
Mm-hmm.
There was Bakem, who was one of them uh, who actually like inspired me to draw them in the way that I draw them. You know, with like Cole with like a really like wide face, I guess, like flat chin, Zane with like a really like wide, like really long face and all that kind of stuff. Just like
Mm-hmm.
proportions. I kind of copy my my designs off of her.
Oh, okay.
Purple was a person's art I liked. Araday, they have some really good Ninjago art. Um, yeah, so those are like the three main inspirations that I had to start drawing Ninjago stuff.
Okay. Fantastic. All right. Next question from Tesla is, Josh, would you be up for making a family tree or a group image for all of the characters that come from a specific nation or planet from your universe?
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
I haven't done it yet.
That's fair. No, I can imagine it would be a large picture.
Yeah.
So, okay. Tesla
And
asks,
Queen Nora, sorry, Queen Nora looks like the CMF Series 15. Yeah, I based her off of that.
oh, perfect.
That might have been an old comment.
Okay. Excellent. He asks, do Lego Friends and the mini doll themes come into play in your universe? And to that extent, the Lego Movie?
The Lego Movie doesn't take place in the Legoverse at all. Even though it's a system theme, it does have like elements of non-licensed characters in it. And the whole idea of it is that it is Lego. Like Ninjago, they refer to all that stuff. So it's basically kind of like they're using Lego as kind of like a way to animate, whereas in the Lego Movie they are specifically Lego minifigures.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't include them in there in the Lego verse.
Okay.
Lego Friends does take place in the Lego verse, but it doesn't really affect anything. It's just kind of there. Same with like Lego City. There was a Heart Lake City on Astoria, and Elves also takes place in the Legoverse as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fair enough. In that case, we'll do three more questions, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Last one from Tesla is: would you ever be up for doing drawings for all of the CMF characters ever released in your human style?
That would take a really long time. There are a lot of CMFs.
Oh yeah.
I like doing the ones that I'm really interested in. I wouldn't want to do like just some of the mundane, shower guy or whatever. But yeah. I do like to do drawings of the ones that I'm particularly interested in. I definitely want to do one of that bounty hunter minifigure that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
With the wasp mask and all that stuff.
Yeah. No,
but
I
yeah,
get you.
I wouldn't want to do drawings for all of them, just specific ones.
Mm-hmm. All right. Still, it would be cool either way. All right, next question is from Mecha X, who asks, what is your goal for your artwork?
Because I'm not very good at writing, and so drawing kind of lets me get my thoughts out.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I guess. I'm not really good at describing stuff, so like being able to draw it is a really good like talent to have when I'm trying to, think of stuff, I guess.
Okay. All right. In that case, the next and final question for today is from Jeremy Jason, who asks, would anyone from real life, i.e. LJ, be incorporated into your lore?
If you want.
You're cool, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not picky. It's your lore.
Yeah. I'll have you play a generic wind elemental.
I'll take it.
Happens to be green. Yeah.
I'll take that. That works for me. Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah. No, I actually thought like if I ever included this is kind of related, but like I always thought like if Bionicle ever came out,
mm-hmm.
and like that'd be the closest way I would ever introduce Bionicle to the Legoverse, just because it counts as a system theme.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I was kind of there from the beginning, so I kind of understand more that you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of took it one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So it would be a lot easier to include it than a 10-year story.
Yeah. And that makes perfect sense, because, yeah, Bionicle is incredibly dense, and Bionicle is... I mean, for anyone that's not familiar with Bionicle, it's mostly pretty easy to follow. It's just if you tried to take your knowledge of Bionicle and apply it to Bionicle, it's just going to be completely all over the place.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Well, in that case, those are all of the questions. So that will be it for today. I will, however, ask you one more question, and that is, where would you like people to follow you on social media?
All right. On Twitter, I'm Joshua D_17. DeviantArt, Tumblr, all that stuff, I'm Joshua D17. So you can follow me on there. My primary thing is Twitter. I post things there first, and sometimes I don't post any, things anywhere else. So if you want to be up to date, follow me on Twitter.
Okay, fantastic. And links to those will, of course, be in the description below. I highly recommend checking them out. Josh, this has been wonderful. Thanks so much for taking the time. This has been... I feel like we only scratched the surface, so like to extend the offer to have you back again.
I would love to.
Wonderful. And of course, we're going to have to talk about Ninjago once the season is over.
Yes.
So, but yeah, no.
Yeah. And the next season comes out.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, man. But again, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been an honor.
And is there anything else you'd like to impart amongst listeners?
Zane is the ice emperor. Bye.
And no, those aren't spoilers. We don't know yet. It's just a theory. It's just what we're guessing now. Oh, man. All right. Well, in that case, I'll do it. Again, Josh, thank you so much for being here.
All right. I'll see you later.
All right. And thank you to all of you who tuned in live or listened to the recorded version. Hopefully you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts and comments below, as always. That'll be it. Thank you all so very much for listening. This has been yet another episode of The Eljay Johnsen Show. This show airs every single weekend, every Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified over on Twitter at The Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Tuesday. And if you have any questions or comments, then feel free to send an email over at eljayjohnsen@gmail.com. Remember, that's JOHNSEN. All right, stumbled through it a little bit. And just, again, keep in mind, the time for the show, the standard time for the show, may be changing. We don't know yet. Stay tuned to Twitter to find out the details. I will let everyone know there. Okay, that'll do it. Once again, thank you all so very much, and have a wonderful day.
Bye.